know, it shows you what I know. So, um, let's just start like this. It's just you. It's just you and me, Cecily. What do you know about the feature? What would you need? What do you need help with? You want just a general review, specific questions?
I would say right now just a general review.
Okay, perfect. Happy to oblige. So, in early August, we added, actually for August 8th, August 15th, there were 2 office hour sessions which covered the release of 2 enhancements. One was the ability to create custom medical fields, or the ability to create custom fields for medical notes, and then the addition of about 100 or so diagnostic tests. And the thinking was, we would increase the ability of our clinics, right, to track data, to track their clients' performance or their the patient's performance. And then, just because we'll never think of every possible field that's out there, the ability to create custom fields so clinics could fill in the gaps where and when needed. So I'll take a look first at how to create a custom field. And we start off by going to settings and then templates. And then in templates here, we'll notice there's a new addition, view custom fields. So let's make some. So let's call it a new template, and we'll call this office hours, custom fields. Okay, we select custom field and we hit, and now up comes the option here. Now, office hour custom fields, right? And there's obviously you would use probably a body part or something, in referring to an animal. But then it just, for example, I could enter any kind of values and say, if I were to take attendance from my clinics, present, absent, right, non-responsive. I'm measuring today's attendance here. and we could put it in any section here. Let's just say it's in the objective section, which is objective. We can observe this. And if there were subcategories, like let's say, hey, this was under, whatever. Let's call it under vital signs, just to have fun. And if there were another subcategory, because some of these areas have subcategories, it would give you notice, or subcomponent. It would give you even further options. Where do we want to put this? So it's basically, this is the part where we're putting it into where it's going to fit into the layout of our medical notes. Okay. And so now this shows you, for example, all of the custom fields I've since created, generally for demo purposes, right? Some people wanted, feces. I actually did this in a demo. Wanted feces, right, in the subjective. Limping, severe, moderate, have it in lameness. Problem behavior, intensity, mild, moderate, severe. You can see these are ones I've just created for people in passing as an example. So if I then took let's take a brand new medical note. Let's create a brand new medical note and call it office hours medical note. And it's a medical note. We can now insert that custom field where we need it. So the normal, quote unquote, normal parameters are all here, right? And if I went to my objective section, I look down to vitals, all of a sudden here, office hours, custom fields. And if I hit this, all of a sudden, present, absent, non-responsive, right? With the ability to add free-form text right here. And so this, honestly, I think is one of the most important features Vetter has released in its existence. In my 3.5 years at Vetter, I put this up there as the most important, simply because it's going to make clinics' lives easier. Before, right, we had the approach of, hey, we can't possibly think of every parameter, so we always used to include, like notes, right? Hey, if under mucous membrane there was something that we didn't have, hey, we tell clinics, put notes in and ask. Again, I don't know much about the mucous membrane, but whatever. Ask about, X or what have you, right? Now we have the ability to add that custom field, just like I added a custom field there for office hours, right? Does this make sense, Cecily, so far?
I'm trying to kind of understand. So would these show up under basic notes, or would you have to go to another type of note platform to see those?
What do you mean by basic notes?
So the basic notes, I guess you have three choices as to the type of medical note.
Oh, well, has your clinic created any other new notes?
No.
Ah.
We've pretty much been working off the basic soap.
Oh, okay. So the basic, so the basic, simple and standard soaps, those are hard coded in the software, and that's there for just your use. Okay. So there, unfortunately, those three notes are not editable. We just drop them in there as a reference, because most clinics, when they start, right, they're like, hey, we don't have any notes, right? They just use those. The idea is that clinics will build their own notes over time. For example, so for example, is we would come to here, and if I look at my medical notes, right, these are the medical notes that in my demo account here that I've built, okay? And if I were to check a patient in, right, and select a note, when you do it then, it just says basic, right, simple, standard. So do me a favor, we'll keep this page up here just to show you what I mean. And I'm going to jump to a sample patient here. We grab Santos. Oh, it's the honor of football season starting today. We'll go to Pigskin Favre. Today's a big day for me with football starting. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, it's very important. And we take Pigskin Favre. Let's just say I wanted to add a medical note for good old Pigskin here. And I come, I hit new record, and I hit new medical note. And right, here's the basic, right, what you're talking about, basic, simple, and standard. Now, have you noticed the other ones?
Mm-hmm.
Those are the same ones that I've created over here, right? So these are ones that I can edit and add any new custom field to, or when I create a note, I can add the custom fields in there. So, for example, if hey, my canine annual exam note, let's take a look at this. And we made this by using our templates here, right? And templates being, anything from, hey, right, this starts to look familiar, all these things that you can pick and choose whatever you want to be in there, right? If I suddenly want to ask about bad breath, there's bad breath, right? There it is right there. If I now suddenly want to drop, my vitals in there, which are all the way down. Oops. Sorry. I made a mistake here. This note, I'm sorry. This note was created. So we had a couple things here. Notes that were created from a long time ago didn't carry over. So let me use this example, I'm sorry, on a different note, and I apologize. Because this note had the old vital signs. My apologies. Let me find a note that was created within the last couple years. And this has to do with the way the engineering worked out, how they weren't always able to, change things from way back when. Let's take a look here. I think maybe the acupuncture note might have, I just want to see when this was created. That's also 2015. Sorry, I'm trying to find an older note where I could show you how this example works. Let's try. Now, these were all created. I'm sorry, these were all created way back when. So it's hard for. So, gosh, I apologize. Notes that were created way back being 2015, they had a different structure. So the ability to create custom fields wouldn't apply to those. But let's say we're creating a brand new note in your case. Let's say your practice wants to build out notes. And let's call this the New Haven medical note. Okay? And we'll come to here. And you guys want to build your own note. Okay? And these are the fields we presently offer. Right? Subjective, right? All of this history here, and I can take as much of this or as little of this as I wish, right? I pick and choose, and I can build my note that way, okay? Under objective, right? I have, let's say I want the body condition score. Maybe here I want just the medical problem. Maybe I just, I'm just kind of giving you a sample way to build a note. Okay, problems, right? And also, so when you build this, whenever the cursor becomes, it's a little crosshair here. When you see the 3x3 little square grid, it means you can move stuff around. So maybe I'll put problems up top, right? And then under body condition score, I also add, hey, I also want to know about, let's say, vital signs, right? And those are the vitals we now measure, right? We measure these right here. I'm sorry, we measure weight, temperature, respiration, heart rate. I added these and other kind of as other demos, right? I was just demoing it. Hey, I want to know about liver palpation. I can put that here. Office hours, that field we built, right? I can drop that into here. I want to know about, the assessment right here, add a diagnosis, right? And this also now brings in the other new feature with our diagnostics field. So if you guys want to do testing on things, right, these are all the tests that we can include, right? So, hey, let's include a heartworm test, right? Let's include a, tonometry right here, right? Whatever you guys want to test for, or your analysis, right? Do I want to test for all of these things, right? Some of these things. And so we added this to give you more resources when building out your notes. And now if you say to yourself, like, gosh darn it, Vetter has all of these tests, but they didn't include, for example, a fecal. Okay. And you say, hey, how do I get a fecal in there? Right? Well, let's go ahead. Then we go ahead and we hit save, right? This is the note we kind of built. And let's say I wanted to get a fecal in there. You're like, gosh darn it. Okay, here's what we're going to do. We're going to use the custom fields feature. And I'm going to have two screens open just to make it easier to see. And I'll come into here. I'll hit custom fields. And these are the ones, right, we'd already done. I'm going to get rid of this office hours custom fields for vitals because it's kind of silly. Okay, let me get rid of that. And let me just get rid of liver palpation too. That doesn't belong in vital signs. And let's just say we want to, hey, you're like, hey, Vetter, this is great, but we don't have the ability to measure a fecal. No problem. In the old days in Vetter, you would have to do this. You want to measure for a fecal, it's not there. You would use our notes field, and people would write in, fecal exam. And then, again, I'm just, no bacteria, let's just say, right? And that's what people used to have to do. Now, saved, okay, good. You say, Ash, I want that to be a field. New template, fecal test. And we'll call it a custom field. And now, hey, where do we want this to go? We want this to go under the diagnostic section, right? And should this go under any of the existing subcategory tests? No. It'll be by itself, and you could say, again, I'm just making this up kind of, bacteria present, no noticeable bacteria. Just, kind of making this up here, right? Severe. I don't look at fecal stuff much, so sorry. And so now I've added this here. And so let's say we come back to here under diagnostics. I'm just going to refresh the page just so we have up-to-date information. And I come to here, and now I want to add, let's say, a fecal test under diagnostics. Now that custom field I built is now here. And we always add them at the bottom just so it's easy for you to find. And now all of a sudden, that's in the medical note with the fields that I created. Is this making sense?
Yes.
Okay, good. Can I answer any questions directly you may have?
No, I guess as far as being able to put how much information in one of those drop-down menus can you put?
Okay. Oh, cool. I see some new people chimed in. So sorry, people who just chimed in, just so you know, when we started, Cecily was the only one online, so I kind of made it a one-on-one session here. So if others of you have questions, there's only 3 of us now, please chime in, okay? So Cecily, you can add as many values there as possible. So if fecal test has, let's say, 8 possible outcomes, you could add 8 of them. The only caveat or rule when you add these, let's take a look at fecal test here, is you can add 1 value per line, right? Mild, right? You can add literally 100 here, just only 1 value per line. Now you could also make this, you could measure this in, one should be Celsius and Fahrenheit, right? Again, not a realistic measurement, but you could put in numerical values, anything you wish. So any updates, I just add mild, right? And now all of a sudden I come to here, and if I refresh this, I will right now have, diagnostics. Let's come to here. Let's add our fecal, right? And now we have the ability here, right? It's mild. So you can add as many fields as you want. As many values, just 1 per line. Now, on that note, one of the little tricks, some clinics have said, hey, we like that we can add fields, but we don't want to have to add a value, okay? So no problem. Some people just we just want a field, but with a sample, we'll call it sample office hours field, but we don't want to have to add a value. Very easy. And you just want this, like maybe it's a subjective question. Things your pet fears. Okay, let's say it's a subjective question, and you just want to enter text. And normally it says right here required, right? So people are like, "Gosh darn it, how do I get this in there without a?" Simply put the cursor here and hit the space bar. Once you hit the space bar, it satisfies the demands of the computer program. And now you can have just a field without a value, right? And that value can take free-form text as a response. So, for example, if I come to here and say, gosh, I want to know what things your pet fears right here, right? There it is. Now, there's no pull-down value here. There's nothing. But you would just write the answer here, bad drivers, Comcast. I hate Comcast, sorry. United Airlines. Okay, these are personal gripes of mine, as you can tell. So you could add whatever you wish there. Other questions people may have. So I think it's pretty straightforward here. Okay. Now to show you where we add these things, let me jump to a sample patient here. Where's Pigskin Favre? Okay. And Pigskin Favre, now, even if, and I realize, Cecily, you were talking about how you guys just use the basic, simple, standard soaps. Let's just say you want to stick with those and you want to do more testing. Understand you don't have to add the diagnostics into a medical note for those results to take in the patient record. Because in the patient record now, we have a new field, view diagnostics, right? And if I want to add a diagnostic, you come to here and say new diagnostic, right? And I can add from here, right? So these are all the ones, right, we've created. And you're saying, gosh, I just did a pancreatic lipase test. I apologize if I mispronounced that. And thank God it was negative, right? And I just hit save and done, right? This now shows up in the patient history, right? Now, eventually, when I say eventually, we're talking early next year, Vetter is going to, what Vetter's going to do is we're going to track all the results. This is one of the key reasons for this enhancement, is you'll then be able to see trending results. Let's say there were multiple pancreatic tests over time. You'd be able to see trending results. Right now, you just see a summary of results. But if there were multiple tests, eventually Vetter will allow you to see them as trending. So the idea is that even if I don't add them to a medical note, I can still come in here and measure these, right? Oh, let's measure blood glucose, right? Or any one of these. And let's just say your clinic style is to do it from a medical note, okay? Not a problem. Let's just go in here. Let's just grab a sample note and to use your example, Cecily. We'll take, the basic soap. So you guys use that, no problem. I'm the provider here. And if you're entering your results in the medical note, that's fine too. Maybe you come to here and you say, hey, gosh darn it, we need a test for a diagnostic, okay? And I want to test for, the color of the gums. And they are, I don't know what a good color for an animal is. I'm going to go with pink. And I hit save. Right now, what I've done is even though it's not part of the note, right, you're not seeing it in the note because we can't edit the note during the medical note. It's still going to go in the patient record. Oh, we just added a diagnostic test, right, result. Oh, here it is. It's part of this note. So even if there are things that you don't have in the note at the time, you can still add them in there, and this will now be part of the patient record. Right? If I come to Pigskin, and I look here, and I see, right, when I take a look at here's the medical note here, and I take a look at the diagnostics. Hey, oh, okay, here they all are, right? Here's color of gums, today's medical note, right? So please understand that even if the diagnostic isn't created yet and in your medical note, you can still add the results to a note, or you can add them directly right from the patient's screen. Okay.
So can I ask on adding the diagnostics and creating those, can you put in the range? So say for glucose, if the range is 70 to 200 or something, can you put the normal range in for a reference?
Okay, let's take a look here. Glucose So the range being, you said 70 to,
Right. There's a lot of diagnostic tests that have a range based on, your machine or an outside lab, but you need something to be able to compare to.
okay.
It's just not a standard yes or no, negative or positive answer.
I see. So you would then be able to, so these are our existing, right? These are the existing values we put in. Let's just say you want to put in, you're like, I don't like these. Not a problem. Let me jump to our little sample here. Let's go. New template. It's called blood glucose. Oops. Test. Okay, it's going to be a custom field. And what ranges would you like to see? Would you
Just for say 70 to 100, just for.
Okay, perfect. And is there another range it could possibly be? Should we put like maybe over 100, right?
That's fine.
Okay, we'll just take this for example here. Let's drop it in diagnostics. Yes, and it would go under no, it has its own category. Right, I hit save and done. So now, where is it here? Right, so those are our values here, right? 70, 100, greater than 100. So if I now wanted to add this to, let's say I'm going to go to where's our New Haven note right here? New Haven medical note. And you say, I don't like vetters. And by the way, we worked with a number of vets for this, to come up with the values. But of course, everybody does it separately. And you say, I don't like, right, vetters blood glucose level 1. So ours are here. The ones that are created are always the bottom to make it easier. And you say, I'd rather do this one, right? And now you would have, here's your blood glucose. You see? So this is you adding your ranges and values in. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I guess I was. Okay. So then in the box next to it, we would put the actual results of the test, is what you're saying?
Well, correct. I mean, well, what I thought it would be one of the ranges, right? It would fit into one of these. I'm sorry, I'm not a veterinarian.
Well, I mean, your test is going to give you one specific number. This is what this pet's glucose is. And then you need to know what's the normal range within that. Does it fall within that?
Oh, okay. So, well, let's edit this. Well, I'm sorry, you have to literally, this is something you have to guide me through. Well, let's edit this then. Okay. Let's edit this. Go to template, custom fields. And what would the possible results be?
Say 85.
Well, no,
I mean, it can be all over the place. It can be from 1 to 500 or whatever.
Okay, fine. Then we're leaving that blank. So in this case, what you would do is this. We'll leave it blank. Okay, right? So it could be 1 to 500. Anything. All right. So now we'll just leave it like this. And we'll come back to our template. And so now this is blank. You can add a value in there, right? So when it's in the medical note, you can add a value, and you can add pre-formatted text. You could do this. You can have the range in there. 70 to 100 is normal. Above, 100 is, if you wanted to put this for reference in there so that you can see better, let's say 7100 equals normal, equals, abnormal. I'm just making this up here. So you could add this as in the form of free-form text, right? So you can put a value in there then, get a value, cool, and then put this in there. And you can put as many of those in there as you wanted to as a point of reference. Would that be helpful, or?
I guess it might be helpful the opposite way around, the way I'm thinking of it, and anyone's welcome to chime in, but because where it says in the drop-down menu,
Right.
if you could choose from any value from 1 to 500, I'm guessing no one wants to type in 1 through 500.
Oh, you want it? Well, we wouldn't drop in 1 to 500 because it's, again, in other words, there's not going to be a drop down. If you want to have a drop down value of 1 to 500, you'd literally have to have 1.
No, I mean, no, I don't. I guess I think you've answered my question. It would be the reverse, where the drop-down menu would be your normal range, your, greater than, less, or whatever you want to put there, a few of those, and then you would freehand type what your actual value was.
Oh,
because you can have an infinite number of numbers that it could be.
Right. I'm sorry, I don't fully, so I don't know how that's different than what we put before. I'm sorry, I'm confused.
No, that's okay. I think I understand, how it would do it.
Because, I mean, if I took the Vetter blood glucose test, right, we're giving you, I see, so you wanted to be able to say something like, this is what you're looking for, right?
The value that you put there is going to be whatever the number is.
Okay,
and
so
you have the printed medical record for someone you need to show the reference.
Yes. So, okay, here's what I recommend doing then. Okay, so what I recommend doing then is this. Look, we have the value you can choose there. And if these do not suffice, right, you can then put in over here. This is what I'd recommend doing. Take what we've already done. Because ours is kind of like as a last gasp measure. I would do this. Take what we've already done, and if you want to have any extra comments or what have you, put the freeform text into the freeform text field.
Right.
Would that be a better solution?
Yeah. No, that would be better.
Okay, good. I just brought up, for example, when we're totally missing a test. So, for example, we were told fecal tests were missing. So we're actually gonna build the fecal test part in here. But in a worst case scenario, if we don't have what you need, you can go ahead and then still create it here just so you have a record for it. I'm sorry if I didn't grasp that fast enough there. But other than that, is this making sense, Cecily? As a way
to
Okay, good. And so like I said, everybody, there's and so actually I didn't say this yet. I've had this question a lot. People have asked, hey, can we add, if we want to create new diagnostic fields, can we add them to existing medical notes? So unfortunately, in this one case, with a diagnostic test, no. If you create new diagnostic fields, I'm sorry, let me back up. If you create new custom fields, you can add them to existing medical notes, as long as they're like from 2016 on. If you create new diagnostic fields, diagnostic test fields, you can't add those to an existing note simply because they have numerical values. And the way it was explained to me, I'm not an engineer, it was extremely difficult to put things with numerical values. It was basically nigh impossible, I was told, into an existing note. So if you want to add the new diagnostic tests to a note, unfortunately, you'll have to create a new medical note. And that's why earlier I was showing the other option of, if you don't want to create a new medical note, you can just add the test, and this is the way I've told people to do it. hey, I don't want to create a new note, Matt, but I like the new diagnostics. You can just go to the patient record, right, and add it here directly, or add it from the medical note like I was showing people. Okay, so just with the diagnostics, if they're going to be in a note, the note has to be newly created, or you add them directly from the patient screen or from the medical note. So sorry if I stumbled there in the beginning, but that should be a complete explanation. Let me see if there's any other questions from the people who are online. Again, this session will be recorded, stored in the customer community. Are there any other questions I could address with these new features? And thank you, Cecily, for working with me and your patients. Much appreciated.
Oh, no problem. Thank you.
Thank you. Well, it looks like we're good for the day. I thank everyone for their attendance. I wish you all a great rest of the day. And I will stop the recording now and then post in the customer community. Okay? Thank you and take care. Bye-bye.